the audience. Indeed, that is the case. We're still proceeding with the NIA institutional hearing. And today we're going to call Mr. Mr. Abdoulie Kujabi, former Director General of the NIA. Could you bring him in?
Thank you.
I, Abdoulie Kujabi.
I, Abdoulie Kujabi.
I, Abdoulie Kujabi.
Nte Abdoulie Kujabi. I, Abdoulie Kujabi.
Well, he's speaking in English. We're just interposing Mandinka interpretation.
Then what happened?
I, Abdoulie Kujabi.
Nte Abdoulie Kujabi. I, Abdoulie Kujabi. Okay.
Do swear that.
Do swear that.
I will speak the truth.
I will speak the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but
the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Good morning, Mr. Kujabi.
Mr. Kujabi.
Good morning, Lead Counsel.
Welcome to the TRRC.
Bismillah, TRRC.
Thank you.
You have just sworn an oath to speak the truth. I just need to remind you that it is a criminal offense to lie under oath in this country.
It
is also an offense to provide false information to the TRRC.
TRRC kono jam fanang luati nyalom ka kumakangol fumi alon ko ka yangani yota ka commission of lindala na luangi bangalale.
Thank you very much for agreeing to testify before the commission.
Baraka bake na tanyamin kasong kana CDRO di commissioner to yaraja.
And considering that you were once a Director General of the NIA,
Director General of NIA wati dolu.
I just have to remind you that by reason of that, I have to remind you that you have a right not to incriminate yourself.
Oto abatale ka tandila ko yenyan to sotole purikane fandu.
But that said, you do not have a right to lie to the commission. Which therefore means that when you speak, when you answer questions, you must answer them truthfully. Are you ready to proceed with your testimony?
Yes.
Kindly tell us your full names, please.
My name is Abdoulie Kujabi. Ntomu Abdoulie Kujabi leti.
Could you kindly give us a brief narration of your biographical information?
Ko ila karango ko Kenya fo mole karang commencé daming fa la banta daming.
I was born in Dobong.
Muluta sa teoto kafudame e Dobong.
In Fonyi Kansala district.
Fonyi Kansala Tundo Kang.
In the West Coast region.
Brikama Banko Kang.
On the 31st of July.
July karotil tansabanin killing.
1959.
1959 Samakono.
Tell us about your education.
Ilalondo Kenya Fanyabang.
I attended St. Edward's Primary School in 1964 in Buyam.
Tata St. Edward's Primary Karambunguto 1964 Sangokono Buyam Sateto.
And went to St. Edward's Secondary School.
Tata St. Edward's Secondary Karambunguto.
And passed out in 1976.
Nana Karamabanje 1976 Sangokono.
What did you do after that?
I had entry to go to the high school, but due to the financial problems of my parents, I decided to come to Banjul and look for employment.
Nasilo soto kata karambumbato kakaranje baribitung otumo na fulola kolea Kenya na ululalie bitungo daliole ya sabu nko otomba ngana Banjul ngana jube fombe doko sotonna.
Do I take it from your answer that as a result you did not attend high school?
Silanga bela jabirole tala kako wogole ya sabu imang high school karangota.
Yes, but I did other courses that led to the same as going to high school.
Bari nga karango dolu kele men ya lonko wolde asekeno wol fanal sikeno dalilo timense kulu silendi santo.
Proceed, please.
Continue.
I was employed as a daily wage clerk at the Public Service Commission.
Public Service Commission.
1977.
Yenta do ko la 1977 pour ni lolundi do ko la menka do ko kije ka fami daily wage.
And 1 year later,
sanji kilin ko la
I sat to the government entrance examination.
Nalondi kontibo ke pour ka dum man sakunda do ko kono.
Instead of going to the clerical school, I was appointed on a permanent and pensionable establishment and taken to the judicial department.
Nyanda tala nun karambundo to memu mansa kundala bundalo remuti barbitum ina tanta do ko la me ya lon kon si pension sotonno do ko nyina karola le hanfo bito dalilo le ya sabu ina tan dundi mansa kundala do ko bundado.
Why was it the case that you did not go to clerical school?
Muna name manta clerical school.
The commissioners then told me that now I've got the experience at the PSC, there is no need to go to the clerical school.
Tumo commissioner menu bije wolle nata nyum fanya PSC ko woto mbetembo mento amang nyin si pour ngata clerical karamoto.
So I spent 3 years in the judiciary.
So ngasanji sabake tilimuni kiti bundala.
And my appointment was confirmed.
Bitung inata nata kanta do ko la inata o sabatindi.
And I sat to the proficiency bar examination.
Bitun nata londi konti boke me ya lonko wolem ebe sauna londi kadung londi bunda do kubato ikafole bar examination.
And I was promoted to a grade 6 clerical assistant.
Dotumole inata grade 6 makamo din clerk ya do ko la karola.
Grade 6, what was that? What position was that?
Grade 6 makama jumaliti no.
Because when you are appointed, it is a clerical assistant grade 4, 5, then stroke 6. After the proficiency bar, the stroke is removed and then you are promoted to grade 6.
As a clerk's assistant?
As a clerical assistant.
Niel londi konti boke ni ikap makamo mendila wolem grade 4, 5, stroke 6. Yo barni nata tambi wo makamo la han foy londi konti boke foy nata gagné e kaw 4 5 bondi jele ye tentendi ye futandi grade 6 makamo fangoto.
At what level was a clerical assistant? Was that the lowest rung in the cadre of clerks?
No. The lowest rank was grade 4.
Yes, but still a clerical assistant.
Yes, so I work in various departments within the judiciary.
Grade 4 wole jita ibeti barbito wairi ngado koke fanna jamale la tilmunin kito bunda la judiciary wodalilo le ya sabu inata fontenga muro soto le pour katara place auto.
Proceed, please, and then.
I work under different judges.
Ngado ko ke kitindirla jamale koto.
And I was also a Kali scribe.
Andu nata ke na misilme kiti bunda fana na kila koti.
And an accounting officer.
Nata ke konti bunda do kula fananti.
At the judiciary.
Wo tilimunin kito bunda laji.
What do you mean by an accounting officer?
I was assistant to the accountant who was dealing with all the financial transactions of the agents of the judiciary.
Memmarta konto na flow konto la tilimunin kito bunda la utumo ntelebe abala kadu koke ka mako iwo do kola.
And that would be an accounts clerk position.
Accounts clerk.
Yes. Account clerk or the position.
Proceed, please.
Then I was promoted to the rank of assistant registrar.
Inata place wala fa nye yenke registrati menketa safer karol la
assistant registrar.
Assistant registrar.
Then I was there for almost 15 years.
Mbewoto fo sanji tang anil lulu.
Assistant registrar. At which court? The High Court, is it?
At the High Court, yes.
Kitibunda bala tha.
And what's the role of assistant registrar?
Assistant registrar do koti.
Keeping records.
Walem ka kuketa lu safe.
And opening case files for court proceedings.
Nin kitolu be kala file men yalon ko nyantata law kitibunda la koluka kaytolu ka dum file men ko non tele ka wol yele.
And you would agree with me that in the structure of the judiciary in the Gambia, an assistant registrar's job is a basic clerical job.
Ko bare be sonna mal ko judiciary la taransi lo ko mi la do ko nyaka kenya min assistant clerk o min registrati wo be kala ko mum yalon ko London dingol le ba
Munda clerk ya do ko le
clerk ya do ko lo wodi.
Yes, because what happened is
walem bare menena take.
It's the same as when you are a court clerk.
Ateo kukilino nimu kitibunda kila koti.
One of the judges.
Wo kitindirla lu killing koto.
Work under Justice O'Brien Coker, the late.
Nadu ko ke Tala O'Brien Coker koto.
Justice Solomon Jai.
And Justice Solomon Jai.
Justice Abuaji.
Justice Abuaji.
Lastly, with Justice P.D. Anin when he was doing the 1981 treason trials.
Nata labang do ko la Justice Anin koto 1981 bring ibewo jamfa jaw kitolu kela.
Yes, proceed. What happened after working as an assistant registrar?
Ko continue ya fo molle mun na take ka bring ibe do ko la as assistant registrar.
My services were terminated.
Ina tanna do ko kumfa.
Why?
Natinna.
I had a big misunderstanding between the then principal magistrate, the late Ibn Boob.
Otumo nyofa hambalia bana tatara ning otumo alfate mameng ikafa principal magistrate Ibn Boob.
He reported me to the late Wallace Grant, who was the master of the Supreme Court.
Otumo
this.
Anatana kibaro di Mr. Wallace Grant la memu master tinu Supreme Court bundala.
When I went to him and he confronted me with what Mr. Mbub told him, I told him, if you don't terminate me, I will resign because I will never work with Mr. Mbub again.
Rim furata ma anyati lungola nadia muta nata fine ko ni man na do ko banjang ni mam fonyondi do ko la ntefa be resign la mbem fonyolale katu Mr. Mbub nata do ko kenola koteke.
That is how I was terminated and paid my gratuity.
Are you
suggesting that you are terminated for doing no wrong?
Mr. Mbub set me up.
Mr. Mbub, I have ferole sitting kama.
And when I knew it, I decided to resign.
But you did not resign, you were terminated.
Yeah, but I told my master that I'm resigning if you don't terminate me. So that you can get your benefit.
Mr. Kujabi, this is not a very significant issue because that's not under investigation, but just to set the record straight,
Okay.
Mr. Wallace Grant was a lawyer, I want to believe, and he knows the law. He would not terminate you for doing no wrong. He must have had a legal basis for terminating you, wouldn't you think so?
Ako Mr. Kujabi niya gibe ni mang kumaya bake ndola kiskisroto bare fase safero nyintilindi kaje ko Mr. Wallace mu moliti mi alon kay amulon loyalty andunga yala do ko nole ate wulla wo nyama doronga e bay atara ayela bila do ko nyintinya atara malo mun yemine ke wala man ko no makom no yaya fo nyama.
Well, it depends. Maybe you don't want to embarrass the principal magistrate.
Malo embarrass ke amalla fi magistrate kunton ko nyin malundila.
To the extent that he would do some illegality by unlawfully terminating you?
Futa woto la do ko nyintinya atara amahana katunga kamalu nyinale wala
satara nin silo manta.
The only thing he did was to write to the PSC, to the PMO who terminated my service. That's what it happened.
Men kanu ndorongole safero ke ka ki PMO do ku bunda me mata do ku lalla pour ka ntela kambondi do ko la.
And do you agree that during those days you cannot terminate anybody without giving reasons, and the reasons ought to have been justified?
Andum fay belala na le ko watul kono ite mola do ko tinya da atra mal la fen kol fo
dalila koyo
fo mi atina ko ko amari la do ko nyanta tinyal.
According to the letter I got was your services has been terminated with immediate effect and you'll be paid 1 month's salary in lieu of your notice. That was all.
Na letro men soto yo le fanyanko mbe bondila do ko la mbe da handila yo bitung ila do ko nyin ko la mbe jola karkilin jola pour ila buluma sayo awa wo drone tarta letro nyimbala.
Same thing applies to when I was terminated from the former government also. Nothing was said.
Ateo ku kilin le fanan keta biri embondi nyimman sakundato membota jam fanan imam femfen safe je wokola.
Well, what you read out, what you stated, sounded very much like a letter you would receive from the last administration and not the one before that. But let's just leave the point and we move on. You left the service of the judiciary and you moved on to something else. What did you do?
I applied as an unqualified teacher and I taught for 2 years.
Which school?
At a mission school.
Na saferoke purka karandiroke na tandundi dina karambungoto andu nga karandiroke woto fo sanjifula.
You said that during this period you did some courses.
Tell
us which courses you did.
I went to the GTTI and did higher intermediate pitman examination courses and I had a certificate.
The certificate of soto brin tata GTTI nga ila londo tukun santonko karang hanufo nga alondi kontiboke nga certificate of soto ngofananto.
In what? In
English.
In English.
Ngale counto.
And you'd agree with me that pitman, those courses were just remedial courses, like for ordinary levels.
Higher intermediate.
Even nako tumo pitmans wala o makamo o community puru amari la makamo
not up to ordinary level GC. It's not that level. It's much lower. Pitman is much lower.
Thank you very much for that clarification, Ima. Proceed. So that was much lower than ordinary levels. As Imam has corrected.
I don't know.
Apart from pitman, did you do any other courses?
When I was in the NIA, I went to Hungary and did a course on IPSA, that is International Bodyguard Security Service Association.
Brintata NIA yen samba Hungary intata karangola je barintata men karangoje wole mu bankunim bankute makanta ro puruka alifalu bala makanta tankandiro Kenya la karola ngaw fanan karan woto le otumo.
And what was the duration of that course?
1 month.
Wo karango wuce jellem karikiling.
And you would agree with me that that 1 month's course is really not sufficient to make you a professional bodyguard.
Ako ibe somman ko o karikiling karango drongate la karango la do ko ngin tan la ka ke pour yeke bodyguard doti.
It depends on the interest I have on the job.
Atuta ante fangola hammolela ngamen soto do ko nyin tamando la karola.
But anyway, let's go back to the beginning of your time at the NIA. When did you join the NIA?
Idunta NIA sanji juma.
I joined the agency in August, I can't remember the date, 1994.
Ndunda agency nyin kono August karola kono bari man hakilo bota lungulalde bari akata 1994 sangole kono.
Barely 1 month after the barely 1 month after the coup.
Yes.
Kabrin kudeta kita karkilin drong do ko commencé ji.
Ha.
How did you join?
Idunda no ji nyaadile.
I applied and I was appointed and did the in-service training course there for 3 months.
Nasa ferola kep kado ko nyininje ina tanta brienta fanan dunta je do ko kono karango ngaw kijele menta tan fo karisaba.
And you would agree with me that before this time, the only academic qualification you had was basically secondary 4 and Pittman.
Akwandu be sonna makko ko han fo wato be certificate o min soto bolom secondary 4 and Pittman.
Yes.
And both of which were below ordinary levels.
Alung hanim be wol be mam futa ordinary level makamo.
You see.
Yes.
And you worked at the NIA for how long?
I
was in the NIA up to December 2003 when I was deployed.
NIA hanu for December 2003 utumole natan saundi.
Minister of Local Government as Commissioner in West Coast.
Yen samba Minister Bundala memata masakundari ngolla yenke Commissioner ti Birka Matundo kang.
And as Commissioner for West Coast, you pretty much headed or represented the government at the West Coast region. You represented the executive, pretty much the president of West Coast region.
Andong kake commissioner ti West Coast akamuta ko ite nyatonka ya balta akamuta ko president o be wole to ya leji West Coast region.
In fact, Mr. Witness, from 2002 you became Deputy Director General of the NIA, and you became Director General in 2003. Is that right?
And in 2002, Mr. Kujabi natake Deputy of NIA, and in 2003 natake Director General of NIA.
In fact, between 2002 and 2005, you occupied very senior positions in government.
Niajibe 2002 kata 2005 palaso mi alon ko wole santon ko yata NIA ite woleta.
Not 2005.
2002.
I mean up to your termination in
2004. Yes.
In 2004. Yes.
2004.
It was in May 2004.
Okata mekarole kono 2004.
And you occupied very senior positions in government.
Palaso mi alon ko wole santon ko yata wolle mara masakunda.
You are Deputy Director General.
You Deputy Director General ki.
And you are Director General of NIA.
Director General NIA.
Why were you appointed to these positions?
Munana yeta ke ngim palaso dile pour mara.
When I went to the NIA, there was no position like Deputy Director General.
Rimbita NIA palasti yenung memu Director General Nolankoti.
It was not during Sambaba's time.
Manke Sambabala watoti.
Not during Munir Dabamarina's time.
Manke Dabamarina la watoti.
It was during Munir Dabo's time.
Aketa Munir Dabo la watole.
He created that position.
Utumole yo palaso londi.
And recommended me as the deputy.
inata ya maroke puru kanteke suti onolankoti.
Mr. Witness, perhaps we need a bout of honesty here. You would appreciate that the position of Deputy Director General of any intelligence service is a very high position, is a very senior position.
Mr. Kujabi jang nyanta tilina janne ifango be sonna maleko ka ke Deputy Director General mu palasi balti ena e la cordato.
Ha.
You would also agree with me that an intelligence service is an institution that requires very, very sharp minds, highly intelligent people. Is that not the case?
Akondi fana be sonna la ko nyindoko mi alon ko ena e kullo
the intelligence service, not NIA. Intelligence.
Nyanta kala multi mi alonko wo mu palaso mi alonko palasi balti nyanta kala multi mi alonko ayalon do sotole wala se wo palaso marado.
No, that is not what I said.
Sike moti me ya lonko hakilo na londo ni ala miraro yiruata londi dinkarengo ba maribulu.
Yes, it requires highly intelligent people. You would agree with me?
Yes, but sometimes it's the dedication.
Just answer the question. Yes. It is a yes or a no.
Yes.
And you would agree with me that it also requires people of very high academic qualifications, very high academic achievements. And it's quite obvious that you did not have any such attributes.
Yes.
And in fact, you are related to Yaya Jammeh, weren't you?
Yes, I'm related to him.
In fact, you grew up in the same place.
He came to my village when he was transferred from Kanilai to St. Edwards. Where he met me.
Could you take that again? We missed something.
He was transferred from Kanilai Primary School. Buyam Primary School, and he started there in Primary 4.
Primary Primary 4.
That was the year I also completed my secondary 4 education.
But that said, you had that family bond during that time.
Yes.
And that family bond and relationship continued up till when he took over the government.
Once a relative is always a relative, yes.
I am talking about the bond.
Yes.
Until the time you were appointed as Deputy Director General of the NIA?
Deputy Director of NIA.
Deputy Director General NIA.
Yes.
Even though you are not qualified for the position? Could you take that answer again?
That is true.
In fact, the qualification for your appointment is that you are related to Yaya Jammeh.
I will say no to that.
You see, Mr. Kujabi, we have to get a true and accurate record of the events that happened during this period, where there were obvious corruption, which has led to the undesirable consequences. We have to bring them out. Your qualification for appointment as Deputy Director General was that you were related to Yaya Jammeh, and he needed somebody like you, somebody he could trust in that position.
I will not deny, because I will not, but what I can tell you is,
but if you don't deny, it means you accept it.
Yes, that means why Muniru had to do that, I don't know. Maybe I don't know, but I was appointed.
But isn't clearly the case that by Muniru recommending you, he is in fact looking for approval of his actions from Yaya Jammeh. He wants to demonstrate loyalty.
It's possible.
It's not only possible, that was the reality. It was just a game of show of loyalty. Answer now.
Yes.
That's right. So it's just to show, well, here is your brother. He is going to be my Deputy Director General. So therefore, it shows that I am for you, because he'd be here and he would see everything that I'm doing. We are all for you. That's what it meant.
Koto munyineti ko ibadi ngo felenti sayin wala be kala palaso to me yalon ko wala be simbe bulalante noma mbeme men kala ata kumpala aba lonnale woto silang ntelube felenti mbe teleye.
That was the truth. That was what happened.
Wolon to nyati ko di wolbe keren ko di.
Yes.
In fact, that was the culture at the NIA. Jammeh was appointing people who were close to him, people who he was related to. He was appointing them to high and senior positions, even though they did not have the qualifications.
Kando fang ni ajibe wolom adoti NIA. Ya Jammeh kam molleta mi alon ko ma badi ngolleti pour yangim place bal mara pour isaje ko atala molletara NIA.
During that time, I was the only one to be called Yaya's relative. There was no other person in the senior position.
Wotembo de ente doronne mu Yaya Jammeh badingoti men be do ko la je wotumo ala molu ko ente doronne be place ba fasongoto me yalonko aketa abadingoti.
But we did hear about a Numo Kujabi at a later stage.
Numo Kujabi lok bo fanam moyle.
True.
Most appointment did not meet me even in the camp. I was in Dakar then.
Yes, but it doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is this was a relative, a close relative, appointed to positions to which they were not qualified for.
Ko man ko lu falling bari ñi mu palaso le to andon kule fana molem ay molu menu ta ka palasi balu di la palaso lu men yalonko ima londo soto ima makamo soto.
With due respect, I don't want to talk on anything that has nothing to do with me.
Malla fi fem fola me yalonka manke nte fangola kuti.
Well, you are here to answer questions about facts that are within your knowledge. If we have to fix our country, we have to be able to identify what the problems were. And one of the problems was that people were being appointed to positions they were not qualified for by reason of the fact that they have familial or ethnic relationship with Jammeh. But this was not in fact about tribe. It was about who Jammeh trusted as a person who would defend his position.
Bare mantra kom si façon kumule fo kanja bare kom kol mi alon ko jamme ata wor jama ko jumale be lalatela pour ko jumale nyanta jumale landila udulato mi alon kate atebe hakilo be tenkuna dami.
You would agree that his interest was appoint people who were loyal to him,
be sonna male ko ate lafta min wolon kam molta mi alon ko wol ngani yo bayele,
irrespective of the fact that they did not qualify for those positions. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I agree.
And in fact, it was on that basis you were appointed Director General of NIA.
Director General of NIA.
You would agree?
He trusted me, that's true.
In fact, how soon after you did Kujabi, the other Kujabi, come to become Director General of NIA?
Silankabite botaje wo Kujabi numu Kujabi atinata ke Director General NIA watu jumale?
I don't know because I was not in this jurisdiction of this country then.
Mr. Chair, I'll provide that information at a later stage. We have the list of the holders of the various offices at the NIA and the periods in which they held those positions. And it would be quite interesting to take a look at it to see who occupied what positions and sometimes the underlying reasons before that. So now let's talk about your stint in the NIA. What were the working arrangements generally, especially at the time of Sambaba?
After my in-service training, I was posted to the President's office as liaison officer. Between the office and the President's office. The NI office and the President's office.
Samba utumole President la office oto purunga ke temalang koti kolu samba nyato President la office aning nteladu kudula office nyin tema.
And what was the role of the liaison officer between State House and the NIA?
State House tema.
Already there was an NIA office at the State House.
NIA office be State House.
Headed by Daba Marena, the late Daba Marena.
Otumo memo office nyato nkoti wole mtala Daba Marena ti.
If the DG Sambaba has anything to submit to that office,
Femfeng ning Director General Sambaba nyanta wole futandila office oto
will tell me. I'll go there, discuss with the head of the unit.
Asafo nyantaje membe wo bunda nyato nkayala inaya kacha.
If it is a matter that should reach to the president,
Inkulo menyanta futa la president ngoma,
I will hand over everything to Daba and he will take it there.
Nteka wako bechi kalengadi Daba pe finansi na futa ndije.
But during that period, would you have direct contact with the president?
I used to meet the president even after working hours.
Nim president kanyojele hani doku watu lufango kola.
Because the reason was
Katu dalilo munyeti nunko.
If Yaya used to see a lot of people outside the office or in the office, so you will see that after working hours, I'll go there and then question him to tell me what and what has been said. If there is anything I can do about it, I'll tell you, no, this is not true, this is true.
Utumo Yaya kamoja leje. Anduwe ulman kanyang. Yo bitungo tembo handinga jita doku wato kola nsitaje wo monyoje ulukono naka diamule ninkolu tata menu yalonko ifutatama bitunteka wolle boy nyoto nsafa nyinni manke to nyati de bari nyinni mukuso to ringolti nsiolu boy nyoto.
As time goes on, I will give you examples of why I was very close to him in those days.
Time wato kata nyaming mbina obe bondila nyoto le muna nankata tala bake wotilolu kono.
Well, that was the point I was going to make, that you became very close to Ijame. And in fact, you became an unofficial principal advisor to Jame.
Yes.
But you would also agree with me that you did not have the training nor the qualification to attain such position. You would agree with that?
Yes.
So tell us the reasons why you became very close to him.
I know Yaya when he was a small boy. And I know what type of a person he is. If he is short-tempered, and he has nobody to tell him to stop, he will do blunders.
And mota bala mensa fay atu ni wonte asi kujawoluke wala asi tinyaroluke.
That has nothing to do with qualifications.
Wo mang lolu la soto ka foko ngakarango makamole soto.
I save a lot of people
ngamo jamale kanandi
because of false statements given to Yaya. Because if Yaya knows you and he trusts you, you can even sell the whole country in 1 minute.
Kato Yaya Jamme mole matina la tela jikitela isinyem banko fango be wafino le minute kilindro.
And some people
and
who are giving access to him were using that to castigate others, which I have to stop it.
Andu modolu sotonta wolu katatala nyaming woliole ta purka dolu tinya bitung wonyo tinya dalilo le ya sabunte tumodolu nka fay atu.
I hope I'm clear.
You promised to give some examples.
One example,
in
2001 election.
2001 carte fayoto.
I was in my office.
One
of the orderlies at State House called me and said, if you don't come, Yaya is about to set fire here.
Orderly old Dolube State House, most of the men konye ni manna. Yaya Jamme pareta dimba bola State House
jande. I was very angry.
That wolunga kamfata back.
Then I went.
What was his anger about?
I'm coming to that.
Okay.
When I went to the State House, I told the orderly to announce me. I entered, I met him so furious. Then I said, what is your problem? He took out a list. You see this list? All these permanent secretary directors, they are not in for me.
Ayo kaito membondi tolu menu bebe ubala permanent secretary nila directolu akonya nyulube man ngani otente.
In fact, they did not even vote for me in the past election.
In fact, wala nyinti ko fam hani nyin carte fay tambila nyulu famlu man carte o fayinte nyin carte fay tambila.
I told him to give me the paper.
Nkai kaito nyin dinna.
I looked through the paper.
Na kaito nyin jube.
I told him, look,
nkai hey ajube.
I'm not going to ask you who gave you this list.
What I
want to ask you, why are people doing secret balloting? So that nobody will know who voted for who. And also, if you believe that these technocrats will vote for you, you are wasting your time. What we know of technocrats is to deliver. They are not politicians. They are not appointed by any political reasons. In fact, the person who gave you this list, if you call him here and ask him to swear to the Quran that he voted for you, he will not swear. So he wanted to dismiss 21 people at the same instant. I took the paper, I tore it away. And he started laughing. They are lucky. I said, no, you are the one who is lucky. I told him, if you remove these 21 officers, and you bring maybe their deputies or whatever, and they cannot do the job, are you not setting your government behind? And he said, in fact, why are you here? I told him I was told. I came.
Mr. Witness, Yaya was your boy. You brought him up. I'm
older than Yaya for almost 7-8 years.
You brought him up.
I was one of those that brought him up. But
so you knew him very well. Would this description fit him? From what you've just said, this is not my position, it is not my view. I'm just deducing it from what you have said. And I would put it there for you to comment. Would you describe him as an intelligent fool?
Silang ite isa ala Kenya fo ko molo mi alon ko ya londo stole kendeke.
Tole lonnalemu.
I will not say he's an intelligent fool.
Nta fola ko tole lonnalemu de.
How would you?
But what I do know,
Ringamen long.
Yaya is one ear, one-sided.
Yaya
He believes you, that's it.
Yaya mutulu kilingolti. Na la tela dorong bitung alota woleto.
Unless somebody will tell him that what this man is telling you is not true, then he will live here forever also.
Fonim mo nata kayan konyin kamem foye tonya tende aduna boteto fanang aboteto lefereng.
How would you describe such a person?
I don't know.
Malon dem be mem folat.
Wouldn't such a person be a fool?
Umo façon.
No, it's not you cannot. I don't think that word has fit him because he's short-tempered. Short-tempered people are not fools, but once he gave up, he has forgotten everything. So I don't.
Would you say that he was also eccentric?
I think that is the correct word.
Wala mnyente ate anyaba fangole kang amunta ay ko be ngani afangole sedo ko de wodem wo mukumaleti meyalonko umuto nyal.
I don't know whether that's the definition. More money all. Would you describe him as that?
Yeah, that's true.
Would you also describe him as, people do say that he can be quite wicked. He can be wicked.
Yes, it's true.
He enjoys putting people in difficult situations, untenable situations, be it pain or suffering.
Aka kontanda nyoka se oka nyo se ole kaje na moje molbe dimo kono molbe batareng oka nyo se ondile.
It is also said that he enjoys putting people so low that they would have to beg him to massage his ego.
Aka kontane fana kaje ko ay momuta o do yandi fa mari isaja mari sa tara amana ni la mari fa hana asingo fango
amari se amanene hanufo aya fan jindi ay duma.
If he was doing that, it was not during my time.
Nabe okay kande wo mankende la
what I do know is I want to look at somebody big, not great, but a big man.
Ndega melong wala mi yaya laftale moli aje ko.
And he would do everything possible to keep that view.
That bigness, yeah.
And he saw his presidency as his throne, didn't he?
Anyway, Yaya was not seeing the Gambia as a democratically elected government, Gambia. He was seeing it as his personal property. I can say that.
Yaya man Gambia jeko karte fayo demokrasi la silo la wole banku fasamu Gambia ti. Yaya e Gambia mutale ko ate fansum fengole mo Gambia ti.
That is why sometimes if we talk, he will tell you Ntela Banko.
That's why dalilo le asabu tomorrow Nabanko, my country.
And serving as his director of national intelligence, did you at the time believe that that was lawful?
No.
Wato men itebe director general yala yo men famaten fo ite fangolata wala labang hani sedo ko hani.
And at that time, did you really see the kind of damage this kind of thinking Yaya Jammeh had could have for this country? the kind of damage that would have for this country.
Silang ite wato ya jele tonya kom mirar sifa mimbala abitinyaro misabula banko wato ite wo jele ba.
That was why I was always very close to him. Because even when I was negotiating for the Sadauda's return, it had to take me some time. I had to use Edu Gomez. Was my friend. And he brought me Sadauda's nephew called Sidi Alame. We sat in my office. And I told him I want Sadauda to come home. Then Sidi Alame told me that will be very good if you can do it. I told him the man has been away for 7 years. It's enough. Then he said, I will talk to my sister. That is Mina Alame, who was married to Bakari Njai. Then they came with Mina to my office. We discussed. And I told her that I want a number that I can reach to Sadauda. And he gave me the number to Mariam Alame, who was also a niece to Sadauda, who came in the UK. I'm sorry, my legs are boiling. So, I
United Kingdom
called Mariam.
Kumandi.
He said, who is this?
Mariam Kujumale Munyinti.
He said, it's me, Abdoulie Kujabi.
Abdoulie Kujabi.
He said, yes, I heard your name.
What do
you want?
He left a munela.
He said, I want to speak to the old man.
He said,
okay, give me 1 hour. I'm going there. If I reach, I'll call you and you talk to him. What I am telling you, if you go to the Kairaba Sadauda's book, you'll see what I'm telling you is still written there. I spoke with Sadauda. And I told him, it's not good for you to be away. I know you are home hungry. I want you to come home. He said, is that possible? I said, yes. He said, okay. Whatever you can, let me know about it.
So you embarked on the negotiating process?
Yeah. Then I went to Kanila. I met Yaya Jammeh there. I met him in his sitting room. I called Sadauda's number. When he answered, he said, Nakeba.
That's your son.
I said, speak to him, you will know who the person is. When he said hello and Sadauda said hello, he held his mouth. I said, speak to him.
Bring ako hello, Sadauda fananko hello. Aya dalu muta. Nkai barihani ina idiamu.
He spoke for more than 1 hour.
Idiamu tamensiata montoro watoti.
That's where I took it up.
Jelo mungata mfankang.
Negotiated for his assets to be returned first. And I told him to send 2 of his sons to come and witness the handing over of his properties.
And
he sent Dauda Jawara, the eldest son, and Almami. I received them at the airport and lodged them at Atlantic Hotel. But before we reached the hotel, we passed through Auntie Louise, the younger sister to Dauda's mother.
Barijanimbe futala woto nsota Auntie Louise ya Dauda Bama Kotoma Bakausate woto.
Then I took them to Atlantic Hotel.
Utumolo nate Samba Atlantic Hotel.
Following day, I took them to Kanilai.
Oso monge Samba Kanilai.
With men and the niece.
Between Samba je na barindingulu.
And they all discussed.
Kachalu keta jele.
And Charaula's properties were handed over at the Ministry of Finance. Then Justice Paul was the lawyer of AMRC. He wanted to create a problem. I told him, look, this is a matter that has been discussed. The matter should be solved once and for all. The property should be handed over to the owner.
Sadaula lawyer Justice Jumalem haketude.
Justice Paul.
Yo, watumo biringa abdia moma Justice Paul atelom MRC la lawyer ati alafta kolea dundila jenka.
Mr. Witness, what would have been the consequences if you had made a mistake in that negotiation process? If you had made a mistake, what would have been the consequences?
Because I know there will be no mistake, because I was talking to Yaya Jammeh on several occasions, mentioning Sadauda just to feel his pulse before I did the negotiation.
Ngalo ne filite keno la je kato sinya jama nka ya jamme kachande nka jube pour nyin kamala nsanga niyo ning alodula long wo koluto wo dalilo le ya sabu mfanango silota.
You are confident there would be no mistake.
Yeah.
Ko ite lat ilatale ko atekela kutimi alonka bekele bulu filolti.
Ha.
In your view, what would have been the consequences if at all Yaya Jammeh did not in the end like the outcome of what you have done?
Silang ite la jero to mune bina kila la kolyati ni Yaya Jammeh man na labang ka song ite la ngin ko la yiminta manite.
Yaya Jammeh is a president in his office, but in his house I am the elder brother.
Yaya Jammeh mu president olitide ala office okono bara ala bungo kono ntele mo akototi.
If he act otherwise, he will see the other side of me, which he will never want to. And God knows who Abdoulie Kujabi is.
Abdoulie Kujabi ti andung ayentela karado fanalonne.
Well, we would see what subsequently happened to Abdoulie Kujabi. And then we would know who Yaya Jammeh is. On that note, Mr. Chair, perhaps it's convenient that we take the coffee break now, 5 minutes in advance, and then we will resume. I don't want to move beyond this point yet.
Thank you very much, Emma Council, and thank you, Mr. Kujabi. We come back at 12 noon.
Am I losing my 5 minutes?
Yes, I'll give you extra 5 minutes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.